So one of the things, so I love Dungeons and Dragons so much because it is n- like nothing on the planet. It is incredibly unpredictable, and I think what really I like is what was accomplished with the deck of many things. First of all, it really just kind of completely changed the game for what happens in a D&D Canon hardback, right? And we're just getting more. Also, it was $100, which is saying, hey, these are no longer, you don't just pick these up. This isn't just a book you pick up. These are purchases you're going to need to plan. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry. Let me start from scratch here. Um, what what is the deck of many things really accomplishing? It's not just for generating adventures. It's not just for provisioning play Dungeons and Dragons players, Dragon Masters, with magic items. It's also a map of Dungeons and Dragons itself. Look at this: plant, construct, beast. Do you know what that is? This is a map of the creature types within Dungeons and Dragons itself. There's the aberration, the humanoid. That covers a lot, right? And then giants. We got an entire book on giants, and that was an extremely important book. I think that was actually one of the most important books of D&D canon ever. I think a very unusual event happened with Big B's. Really fascinating, right? Um, the Fiend. So these are your demons and your devils, right? And in the days where the Christians were strong, couldn't say demon and devil, you had to say fiend. Um, Fae, very unusual, right? The Fae are elves, are belong to the Fae, and the Shadow Fae, and the Fae lands. It's a huge part of Dungeons and Dragons. Monstrosities. This covers a lot, and that is an owlbear. And then oozes, and with plasmoids, we recently got a playable species from the ooze section. Right, undead, huge part of Dungeons and Dragons. Necromancers, skeletons, all kinds of incredible things, right, to deal with. Elementals, fire, air, water, earth. Elementals, huge part of Dungeons and Dragons. Celestials, and what do we come for? Dragon. So Dungeons and Dragons. So the deck of many things really serves also as this incredible map of Dungeons and Dragons in many, many ways, right? And in addition to this, I think, Mackenzie DeArmas worked on this book and on this product. And I think she's really the heart of this. She's the reason this is awesome. And why is it so great? Well, it's an echo. Like Gary Gygax created Dungeons and Dragons. It dropped on February 7th, 1974, first day of Dungeons and Dragons ever. First day where the social contract of the player's character guide was dropped. Pretty incredible, and just really, really fascinating. Um, and from February 7th, 1974, no one knew what this thing was. No one knew what Dungeons and Dragons was, right? Gary came along and he's like, "Hey, everybody, this is a game." Wink, wink. In my humble opinion. And then the Christians came along and said, "This is demonism. This is the way that's going to capture our children," right? It almost seems like Gary trolled them. Like Christians were like, "Hey, I think my kid's gonna get lost forever in Dungeons and Dragons." It's still astounding. No one talks about this, right? Gary was like, "What if I made a show where your kids got lost in Dungeons and Dragons? The exact thing that everyone's telling you isn't true. What if I made an entire show that it was true?" It is absolutely like from day one, you have never been able to put your hand on exactly what Dungeons and Dragons was, right? In my humble opinion. And Mackenzie DeArmas comes here and she echoes Gary, right? And in the making of the deck of many things, what is it? Is it just a is it a recre is it bringing magic items from the D&D from the realm of Dungeons and Dragons to the realm of Jord Earth, or is it a tool? Right? Like, can it be used each day for observation, aspiration, and inspiration? It, Or is it a map of Dungeons and Dragons? Well, it's all of those. You just heard my humble opinion. Every word you just heard was my humble opinion. What's important is when I hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.